Hey there everybody on YouTube, this is Kyle Snyder once again, aka Clip10, continuing on with my top 10 list of the most controversial calls in the NFL, and we have finally reached number 1. But before we discuss number 1, I'm going to run down the number 10 through number 2 for those of you who might not have been following this list. But nevertheless, there's still time to catch my other mentions on controversial calls, so here's number 10 through number 2. Number 10, Matt Hasselbeck's incomplete pass to himself. Number 9, the Mike Renfro catch. Number 8, the Bert Emanuel catch. Number 7, the Holy Roller. Number 6, Super Bowl 40. Number 5, the 2002 Giants vs. 49ers wildcard ending. Number 4, 4th and 2. Number 3, the Immaculate Reception. Number 2, the tuck rule play. And now the number 1 most controversial call of all time, and it's really one that I feel should have been number 1. And, you know, NFL Network sees it at number 9, but it's Bottlegate. That's right, Bottlegate. And basically this is going to be a two-parter thing because basically I'm going to explain every single detail about how this happened because there are some people that might not completely understand what happened during the Bottlegate incident. And I'm going to try and be as least biased as possible, but there's no guarantee. But anyways, basically what Bottlegate was, it was like this. It was week 14 of the 2001 NFL season. It was the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Cleveland Browns. The Jacksonville Jaguars were already out of playoff contention. They had no hope for making it to the playoffs. And basically, the only reason why they were basically playing still, that they were actually trying was not only to prove that they were the best of the worst, but also to knock as many other teams out of playoff contention as possible. And the Browns were one of those teams that were in danger of being knocked out of the playoffs. So basically, it was somewhat of a defensive struggle throughout the game. It eventually got to 15-10 with 2 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. It was Cleveland's ball, and Cleveland had no timeouts. They had to score a touchdown. A field goal would not have done them any good because had they scored a field goal, they would have had to recover an onside kick in an attempt to get them back downfield to score another field goal to barely win the game. And recovering an onside kick is very hard. It's almost impossible to recover an onside kick unless you know exactly what you are doing. But anyways, the situation was like this. There was less than 2 minutes remaining. It was 4th and 1, I believe, at the 11, and the Browns had to convert to 4th down to keep their hopes of winning the game alive. And so basically, Tim Couch goes for a throw to Quincy Morgan. Quincy Morgan gets knocked down as he was catching the ball, and they initially ruled it a completed pass. And so the next thing you know, the Cleveland Browns were trying to get to the line of scrimmage to spike the ball as quickly as possible because they had no timeouts. They had to stop the clock and they basically do that 48 seconds remaining. Then as they get into a huddle to discuss what play to run next or how to attack, then all of a sudden you see the umpire going to the referee, Terry McCauley, and basically talking to him about something. And what he talked about, I don't know the exact words that the umpire said to the referee, but I know he said something along this. He basically said, "Ref, what are you doing? The replay booth buzzed down. Why didn't you stop the game?" And then Terry McCauley said something. I can only imagine he said something like, "What are you talking about? I wasn't buzzed. My buzzer didn't go off." And the umpire said, "Well, that's funny because my buzzer did go off." And it was later confirmed that Terry McCauley's buzzer was malfunctioning. It was not working properly. And so after all of this, basically the discussion the umpire and the referee had, well, let me backtrack a second. The referee is not the only one who has a buzzer that the replay booth sets off whenever there's a need for a replay. The umpire has one just in case. And basically why the umpire didn't try to stop the game either, that's beyond me. I don't know why he didn't try to stop the game as well. But basically they determined that the replay booth did buzz and that there was a need for a replay. Now this is where the Cleveland Browns started to boo very loudly and start to become hostile, because there is a rule that states that when another play is run, under no circumstances shall the previous play be run. Meaning that the Browns were right to be angry, because the rule obviously stated once another play is run, the other play cannot be reviewed, and basically they had every right to be mad because, as I mentioned, the Browns ran another play. Spiking the ball does count as another play. So basically they go back, so they basically review the play, and it was a very close play. I mean, it showed as he was getting knocked down, he was losing control, but, as Quincy Morgan was going down, he clearly, well, maybe not clearly, but to me, he definitely looked like he got his hand underneath the ball to prevent it from hitting the ground, and then he re-caught it as the ball was coming up, which I have seen similar plays to that, and the referees have almost always counted that as a catch, and it kind of looked to me like they weren't buzzed in time, because Terry McAulay, when the Browns spiked the ball, they initially signaled incomplete pass, this. Now if they were buzzed in time, then they would have gone like this, timeout, stop the game, but they didn't. It's like, why they didn't do that, it's beyond me. But basically, Terry McAulay ruled that the pass was incomplete and that it was first down Jacksonville, and that really set off the fans, because obviously the Browns had run another play, and obviously there was a technical malfunction, but last I checked, the rules do not allow for technical malfunctions to allow a referee to go back and review another play. Because, like it or not, the rule specifically says under no circumstances shall a previous play be reviewed after another play is run. And I know some of you might think that Terry McAulay was right to go back, but like it or not, a malfunction, a technical malfunction, is a circumstance, and the rule specifically prohibits circumstances from allowing a referee to go back and review another play. Maybe if the rules mentioned technical malfunctions, then it would have been the right thing to do. But if you knew the exact wording of the rule, then it's absolutely not a legal review. That review was illegal, and it really set off the fans. They started throwing a lot of garbage on the field, specifically beer bottles, for 5 minutes. Terry McAulay, he did not try to communicate with the fans at all. He didn't try to talk with them. He didn't really try to get control back. And 5 minutes later, he ended the game because it was too dangerous to continue on. It was the most unprofessional type of situation handling that I have ever seen from any NFL official. Not trying to communicate with the fans. That is not professional. That is leaving them in the dark. The fans no fans deserve to be left in the dark about a certain situation. If there was a technical malfunction, then Terry McAulay should have let the fans know. But a lot of people are criticizing the fans for throwing garbage onto the field, but I feel that the fans did it to send the officials a message that we are not going to accept such unprofessionalism from a professional officiating crew. Well, anyways, I'm getting close to the 10-minute mark, so I'll continue on with my thoughts on part 2 of this. So be sure to catch part 2 before you leave comments.